It's a bit testy in here tonight already. I can feel it.
You feel the nerves?
No, not nerves. Just there's tension between us. There's tension between different levels of the football club. Tension between me and Ben Crocker. There's just tension everywhere. I don't know.
I don't think there's tension.
Are you getting on with Crocs or what?
Yeah, we're all right. We're fine.
Crocs, if you're listening, it's not Dan and I. It's all Joe.
Oh, so much for one in, all in. Jesus.
Joe has to look left and right when he leaves his house, just in case.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll give no credit to this side ever. I'll give no respect to this side. Jono Baruch, honorary Blues brother, Will Hayes.
Yes.
Mr. Paul Sebastiani, welcome back to the show, mate.
This one game is a build-up of, a year's worth of work.
That's if you think of his performance.
And I gave my opinion.
It's an opinion-based podcast. Fair enough. Welcome, everyone, to episode 93 of the Almost Blues Brothers podcast, brought to you by Piota Health and Performance and proudly powered by the Blue Broad Podcast Network and YouTube channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning 93 times, welcome back and well done, because at this point, I don't know why you keep tuning in when we're saying the same shit every week. Before we get into it, Jules, Dan, how are we?
Good, besides the footy, to be fair. But the footy is probably one of our big parts of our lives, so it makes it a little bit difficult, I feel, at times. Thoughts?
I feel like going to the footy is like going to high school, and there's that one kid that always bullies you at the moment. And I feel like every time I come back from the footy, I've just been bashed. That's where I'm at. That's what it feels like. And then when I'm at home, I forget about that one kid that's bullied me until I go back to the G.
Because you're in your safe space.
Yeah.
Anything happy to talk about this weekend at all that you did? I had nothing this weekend, so I was just sitting on the couch doing fuck all.
I know this is not really exciting, but I wall mounted my TV, so that was a good achievement.
Achieve something.
After how long?
A year and a half.
Jules, anything to report?
I genuinely got nothing for you, to be fair. Nothing.
If anyone likes F1, did anyone see Charles Leclerc not even pass Q1? Joe, did you watch that?
This is a week after Lewis Hamilton's been offered a $75+ million contract by Ferrari as well. So
correct.
F1 fan, it's gonna be a
belter.
Very, very entertaining contract season coming up. Outside of that, whatever. We're here to talk about one thing again, and it's the same shit again, with maybe a different spin on it tonight. There's a few rumors going around and whatnot that we'll not that we'll discuss, but we'll address. And we've got a game to talk about. If you're here and you haven't already, go follow us on Instagram at Almost Blues Brothers, on Twitter at Almost Blues Bros. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe right now to the Blue Broad YouTube channel. It helps us. It helps the community immensely to keep doing what we do. Boys, without any further ado,
let's get into it.
We are straight into this tonight. There's no Blues news. There's nothing else to talk about other than I don't even know. I don't even have a word to describe this football club at the moment. I really don't. If you guys have got one, go for it. If you're in the chat, give us one word to describe the Carlton Football Club at the moment. Go. I don't even care what the word is.
Pretenders, wouldn't you?
That's one.
Be one word, I reckon.
Soulless.
Disappointing.
I feel like as if this is very similar from like a few weeks back where we're just hammering them.
Yeah, let's stop doing this.
We all went. This was 7 days after I turned to Dan after the Sydney game. and said, "Don't let me go next week." I literally said, "Do not let me walk into the G next week," and we did, hand in hand together, all three of us, like dickheads. And not only did we walk in hand, all three of us at one point actually thought we could win that fucking game.
No,
That is
no,
how
I did not. That's
is-
not true.
Oh, well, I know me and Dan did, Jules. We are sick.
That's not
We
true.
are seriously.
Not for mine.
We are
Not for
sick
me.
people. We are sick.
The other thing is, we started off with what, like 10, 11 people rocking up to the footy, like round one. Now we're down to just 3.
It's just crazy. Here's some,
Well, we
here's some
can-
words for you. Shambles, crap, inept, dismay, lost, failure, flaccid. That's my favorite. That's a good one.
Boys.
Diarrhea.
What we can
Yeah.
comment on is the feed we had before the game.
Yeah, it was good. The little
brought back-
food truck
brought back
outside gate
memories.
6. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Anyway, let's get into this match report. Final scores: Carlton 6-8, 44 to Melbourne 8-13, 61. Blues losing by 17 points. Goals for the Blues: Fisher, Curnow, Akers, 1 each, and Harry Mackay actually found his boot again with 3. Jack Silvani, the only injury at halftime, replaced by Paddy Dow, who we will talk about at some point in the podcast as well. Boys, take it away.
I don't know where to start, to be fair.
Wherever you want.
It was very, very dire. Like, there wasn't really much atmosphere at the game, to be honest, to be fair, up until probably, the third quarter, more or less, where we thought maybe we'd be in it. But then, even still, I still felt like as if Melbourne would kick away. I thought they would probably kick away more, to be honest.
Can I be brutally honest? I think the game and our performance was actually a lot worse than what it felt like going through each quarter. I think the fact that Melbourne kicked so poorly in front of goal actually obviously gave us some form of hope that we're in it. But when you look at, when I watched the replay again, and when you look at the way the game transpired, we're never in that.
No.
We weren't. I know we took it between. I know we got it between what, 2 guys? Was it 12 points at one stage? 11 points. But
I think we got under 2. I think it was like
Bailey,
8 points, 9 points, something like that.
come on, Bailey Frisch went in with something like 13 and 3 at set shots, and then missed his first 3. Cade Chandler the same. Like, it's the same. It was. You know what? Hansen, our forwards coach, he needs to have a good look at himself personally, because I saw the issue with the way they were exiting D50 and our pressure on the ball. We just allowed them to exit. Their entries inside 450 were just ridiculous. Like I said, when I watched the game again, I'm telling you now, we should have got belted by 40.
Didn't they have a record? What was the
Rebound,
stat?
yeah.
Rebound?
Rebound 50s record. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, it wasn't a stat that I was actually going to bring up tonight in terms of what I'm going to be speaking about, but like, that's just, I mean, I think I've been saying it for a while, but our smalls haven't been up to it. You know, Motts, Dirds, even Dirds, obviously before he got injured.
Yeah,
Always, I know he's been
I
out for a little
agree.
bit as well. They haven't been hitting the scoreboard, but they haven't been applying pressure either. So, you know, there's got to be changes there, I feel.
We spoke about the continuity. We said that Harry and Charlie have got it right. And Jules, we both said that we wanted Harry closer to goal.
Yeah.
Better. Immediately better. But I'm sorry, if you can't get it right with your smalls and the continuity of your smalls, the way teams can just exit. It felt like for us to exit D50, it was a genuine mission to even get past halfway. Jules, remember how many times we commented about that? Honestly, it was.
I mean, obviously, it sort of leads to the fact that how many inside 50s do we have? I think at once, what was it, 30 something?
They had 20 more for the game, Jules.
Yeah, I know, but we only had like 30.
30,
I think they had
30
60. I think we had 30 something. You know,
I
it's
think we had 30.
ridiculous.
I think we had 30, 39 or 38 for the game or something.
Yeah, you know, that's not up to that obviously the standard, but
it's that's completely different to what we've seen other weeks, where we have a lot of inside 50s, a lot of I don't know. I wouldn't even say scoring chances, but we do genuinely rack up the inside 50s regardless of how we get it there, and we couldn't even get our hands on the ball to get it forward. Like, it was just a different level of poor.
Like,
for reasons that we haven't even spoken about really this year. Like we
Yeah.
lost
Well,
the disposal count.
you
We
can have a
lost the
look at-
inside 50 count. Like it's just insane. It's insane.
Yeah, we can have a look at some of like even the the efficiency going by foot or even by hand. You got like Cottrell 66, O'Brien 66, Walsh 63, Motlop 54, Boyd 44. You know, some of those players are more outside. So if they're picking up the ball with a bit of space, bit of time, you'd expect them to hit targets, and they didn't.
I think what fucks me at the moment, sorry to be direct like that, is the fact that Voss in his presser goes defensively, he was happy. But I look at the way we defend as a team and it was shit.
Correct.
And that's what concerns me is the standards of everyone. That is what concerns me.
Yeah. Have we had concerns over our defensive capacity from our back six? I don't think we have.
I think
I think it's been
one-on-one.
more around our midfield and our forward line structure in terms of allowing them to get the ball out and even winning the ball at the contest, particularly early on in the season.
At this point, I don't even know if structure is the only word to use because we sat pretty close on the wing actually on Friday, which was shout out to
Good
Matt Fashani,
seats.
a podcast favorite, putting
Great
us up in
seats.
AFL reserve seats that were just sublime. Probably the best part of the night, to be honest. But we were close enough at points to really, really, I guess, see the effort. So regardless of structure, sure, there's structural issues all over the park, but some of the effort and just some of the disinterest, my God, man. The body language, the facial expressions, if you want to point out players, you can, but there's more than a handful that I could rattle off right now.
There was a moment that still sticks with me is Lockie O'Brien's come in the side. This is in the fourth quarter. We're having to put pressure on. We're trying to actually lock him in D50. Oh, no, we had the ball, sorry. He had the ball to counter off D50. And this is a guy that's essentially needing to prove himself or he'll be dropped. Yeah? Now, not just him, but countless other players had the attitude. It was a shit delivery. And he went and blamed, I think it was Harry or someone, and then didn't even bother about the defensive side where his man ended up about 20 meters off him. Now, if that's a player that's trying to break into your best 22, like, you know, we always talk about your bottom six. Like that goes far beyond that. That goes into a mindset and a mentality that's just poor. And you can't be competitive. They're not itching to perform, you know?
Yeah, I feel even with, for example, players like Loeb, and I think it's got to do with the whole team. I feel like as if they're playing to try and keep a spot at the moment, particularly those bottom six or so players, rather than actually playing for each other. I feel like as if that makes it a little bit difficult to actually, obviously get the result in the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but if you're given the chance, and if you especially
what I mean by that is they're hoping to get a touch of the ball, rather than putting on a block, rather than shielding, rather than tackling, rather than doing the right things. You know,
surely they would know. Surely they would know that they're not the metrics, and if they don't know that, and all they're going off is empty stats on a sheet, then I'm sorry, they're just not good enough at this point. How long have you been in the system to know that it's a team game? If you don't have team structures, if you don't play for each other and play with the selflessness, you're going to get nowhere. And you're not going to get picked. And to be honest, Lockie O'Brien, he was picked through injury, not through form. So he actually got lucky with his chance and just didn't take it for me. Didn't take it at all.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Look, I know we're talking about him, but he's one of many that we could point out.
For me, he probably didn't need. I think there was someone else in the VFL that probably should be ahead of him anyway. Playing
irrelevant
as well.
Irrelevant because he got his opportunity. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. I'm using him as an example. And like Joe said, there's plenty of them. That how many times do you see? There's just not a hunger. There's just not a hunger. And like, I don't want to say I don't want to insult the players. I really don't, by saying they don't give a fuck. I think that's just I don't want to insult them by saying that. But you look at teams that are competitive, they just have this competitive nature that I can't remember a Carlton, apart from that. And we keep talking about those 10 games, but that's fucking irrelevant now. Because I look over a time frame of 8 years, and I've not, I reckon on both my fucking hands, I can count when we've been competitive.
Number of games, yeah. It's true, over 8
Like,
years.
how concerning is that?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have this. Like I said, look at the Bulldogs. All right, they lost on the weekend, but you can just see teams have an aura about them of this just ruthlessness to want to win. When have we had that?
We don't.
No,
and I'll tell you
but
why.
Isn't that concerning?
And it's I don't know how many times I've said this. The reason that this group does not have it is because they were taught to lose, and they were taught that losing was okay. Charlie Curnow, our star player, has a 28.95% win record to his name across his career.
But Joe,
how can you be in the mentality and the mindset to compete every week, every single week, when after 8 years in the system, you're not even winning 1 in 3 games, and you think that that's okay?
I agree with you. You know,
And again, Charlie's not the only one. We've literally there's like 15, 16 players on the list with that sort of a winning record.
but
What do you expect?
But look at for example North now. Like they're going in. Most of their young players will be going with a shit win-loss record at the moment. Yes.
Well, the difference with North is they brought in some experience in, like, Liam Shields, for instance.
Yeah.
And they,
okay.
and they've got that, like, and he's just one player that they've brought in recently from good cultures. Like who have we brought in outside of maybe George Hewitt from Sydney, where they've come from a good culture? And George Hewitt, he can't even get on the park at the moment. He can't stay injury free. As good as what he is when he's fit, he can't even get on the park. So when we need someone out there that's from a culture like that knows how to get it done, he's not even there. You can't even look to him.
Joe,
I don't know. For me, even for example, I think who is it? Gavin William in the comments, the development. We don't even develop our own players. Like we got players, for example, like a Walsh, Harry Mackay, Charlie. I feel like as if they're always going to be those top end players. At least show it anyway. If we don't develop our own talent in our own backyard, boys, then see you later. I'm afraid Hollands, for example, is going to go down that same path as the other players and not worry about the win losses. Even for example, Binns, he's not really getting an opportunity at the moment. Cowan had a little bit of opportunity. But where's Carroll? Where's Phillips? I know he's injured. Kemp's obviously getting an opportunity now, but probably hasn't played last 3-4 years as well. It's telling, really.
But this is the thing. If from a club culture, like really, I feel like the values and the culture of Carlton is lost within this playing group. I really do. Unless there is an innate willingness to win and a hunger to want to be successful, how can you develop players? How? Because do you know what happens? All right, we can talk about this review and we can talk about McGovern. Shit. He played shit. There was how many times did he drop a mark? 4 or 5 times
in the first quarter alone.
We can talk about skill. We can talk about skill errors. We can talk about poor execution. But do you know what? If you make a mistake, unless there's a hunger to rectify that with second efforts, with then looking to the next play, looking to the next pass, your next shot at goal, to want to rectify that, we're never going to be successful. And it starts from the top and all the way through.
So I think, we've covered a lot here, and a lot of it's been about the playing group, and I think it's fair that they deserve their right whack. They do not show up week in, week out and give the effort that is required of an AFL player consistently. Plain and simple.
Joe,
We've seen it now. We've seen it now all year.
I'm sorry to cut you off. When Harry, was it Harry that kicked that goal to make it within 12 points, 11 points? Jules? Was it?
At the start of the half. Yeah,
at
like
some
20
stage,
seconds into the half.
Our only goal scorer.
Is this ridiculous? Yeah. Is this ridiculous that I did not once think that we were going to win that game?
No, it's not ridiculous because they don't have it. They haven't shown. Everyone talks about last year, right? What's happened since last year? I'm gonna try and provide some perspective here. So last year, 8-2, everyone was wrapped, right? Give me one game outside of Sydney in that first 10 weeks that we actually put a team away and looked convincing, because we dropped 50-point leads to Port and Hawthorn. We had to come from behind against Richmond. And in the last quarter, we had 3 goals directly from free kicks and 50-meter penalties that got us there. Those other games, they weren't that convincing. They really weren't. It was 1 quarter of dominance, which we've always spoken about. And then it was literally, go back and watch some of those games. It was 3 quarters of the same shit that we're seeing now. The only difference was...
Do you know how I know it wasn't convincing? What was our percentage?
Yeah, it was rubbish. It was bang on almost 100. It was almost bang on 100.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Everyone was wrapped about, where's that gone? It doesn't matter. Because it was 3 quarters of the shit that we're seeing now for 4 quarters. It's just that we've lost 1 quarter of dominance in all of this.
Correct.
That's it. That is the only difference. Go watch a game from 2022. You'll see exactly what I'm saying. I watched the GWS game, Dan, that we went to last year. It was that to a T. First 3 quarters, we were dog shit. And we came out in the last quarter and we kicked 5 goals to nothing or whatever it was to put them away. Like, have they actually, but we took it to Melbourne and Collingwood. We almost got there. Yeah, they almost got there. They didn't fucking get there. They're not capable. They are not capable. They have shown that they are not capable of taking it up to a team when the chips are down and when the heat comes on.
But that's exactly right. And how many times have we seen that when there is expectation and when there is pressure and when there is an opportunity to take it with both hands, they don't. They clearly cannot do it.
Agree.
Yeah, look, I feel like as if it needs to be brought in, to be honest with you, from the top down. Even if obviously injection of players, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some movements. I know we're obviously only halfway during the season. It's probably not a good idea to talk about it now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some top end talent that leave come the end of the year.
Not if there needs to be.
I hope
for sure. I agree.
No,
but I'm saying it like as if I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, and it probably should.
Top end. This quotation marks, top end. They're not. None of them are top end talent.
I'm talking top end. I'm talking players who have won Coleman's, etc. That's what I'm thinking.
Individual brilliant.
Yeah, correct.
We've got it in fistfuls. We do not have players that know how to play for a team. We just don't. We've got a couple.
Didn't either.
Walsh,
Richmond had Cotchins, for example. One at Brownlow, had Rewalt, for example, as well. And then look at them. So things change, boys. That's what we need. We don't understand it, but we need to get the right people in place from the top down. We don't have it at the moment. I'm telling you. It's not just the players. It's more above the players than what you think. We can go without a doubt about miss kicks and everything like that. But the confidence comes from above. And I don't know if they're stealing it at the moment, even with the talk around Voss at the moment. I don't know if you want to go into it. Maybe
No, we'll go into it, but we're not going to cover it. Anyway, just quickly, the Booze Hound with a $10 donation. Thank you very much, mate. My moment of clarity came when Gawn was lining up for that goal. We were down by 2 kicks, and I never thought for a second we would get anywhere closer than that.
I said
competing for this group is in the too hard basket, and it's true. It's true.
That game ruined me.
Hey,
that game completely ruined me.
Both Jules and I saw you completely broken at one point. I've never seen that look of complete. You were just inconsolable.
For all the reasons I discussed, and it wasn't the fact that I wasn't aware of where we're at as a football club. It was the fact that I don't know. I don't want to sound negative, but I don't see us being successful for a long time now. So
Jules just touched on it comes from the top, and that's on field and off field. So top 6 players, absolutely, but off field as well. And I just want to raise something real quick. So take us back 2 years. At the end of round 12, 2021, we were 14th on the ladder with a percentage of 92. The end of round 12 this year, we're 14th on the ladder with a percentage of 95. And we were just about to start an external review. So 2 years on from an external review that was supposed to find and solve everything that was wrong with the club, whether it be at board level or playing group or coaching, whatever. We haven't moved. We're in the same spot. We haven't improved. Now, casting mind back,
Joe, because there's a glorified opinion of talent.
Hold on. Stop.
That's
Cast your
why.
mind back. Just stop. Cast your mind back. We announced the external review, and the board of directors and our current president, footy director, they were so confident in their own ability to review the club and get it right that they handballed this review to an independent panel to give them recommendations. That's how confident they were. So that now 2 years on, when it all goes wrong, which it is, they can wipe their hands of it and go, we didn't come up with the recommendations. We just acted on what we were told. So this is how weak the club is from the top, first and foremost. Now, there's a rumor that's gone out today around Voss losing his. We don't. This show isn't about talking about rumors. We don't go into this sort of shit, right? But these rumors likely rubbish. And all I'm going to say is this: it's something I said yesterday to a few people. It's something that I spoke to both Dan and Jules about, and it's something that actually came up on radio today by Josh Jenkins. What this club has not done in the last 6 years, we've given major contracts to star players. We've extended core group of players. We've done a full external review, sacked coaches, sacked board members, sacked presidents, sacked assistant coaches, done a full The only thing that we haven't done, the only thing that I look at that we have not done is extend a coach when the heat comes on. And for me, and I'm very, very intrigued to see what the reaction of the live audience is to this when I say this. Monday morning, first thing tomorrow morning, the thing that I would love to see from the club, that won't happen, but the thing that I would love to see is that we get an email saying that Michael Voss's contract as head coach of the Carlton Football Club has been extended to the end of 2025 or 26. This board, this president, this CEO put out a 5-year plan just earlier this year, late last year, early this year. If we were to sack that coach that was part of that 5-year plan, not even 6 to 12 months in after that 5-year plan's released, what does that even say? What does it say? It says they got no fucking idea to me. Back in your man. All we hear is that the talk around him being a cultural leader and all of that is all good. If he's tactically inept and if he needs help, go get him help. But sacking another head coach isn't the answer at this point. Not alone. Not alone. There's so many layers. I put a poll out on Twitter as a little litmus test to go, what's the core issue of the club at the moment to all our followers? Is it playing group, is it coaching group, or is it high performance and admin? And it was split 33% across each. Literally a third across each of those. So it's not just one issue. This is the thing. It's not just the head coach. It's not just the playing group. It's everything. It's everything. But we've had no continuity for so long. And the only thing that we haven't had continuity in that I look at that's glaringly obvious is the head coach. Back him in, extend him, tell everyone to fuck off, get off his back, get off our back. And this is the plan for the next 5 years. And we'll live and die by it. Simple.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, Joe, you got to understand, even our playing list, like you say, we haven't had continuity in our coaches. Even our playing list, like really, it's only been the last, couple of years in which we've actually had it. And I'm not saying we need the people in the comments are saying we need to cull list even more. I disagree. I just think we need to get rid of some top end talent and get some real astute players in certain positions that we actually genuinely need, because we don't have it. We don't have players with some foot skill, with a bit of pace on the outside, but that can burst out of stoppages, bit of X factor. We don't have it, and that's the players. There's the kind of players that we need. We need to be a bit more astute off field in terms of trying to get the certain players that we actually need, so we can actually have a bit more of a balanced game plan. I feel, because we don't have it at the moment. And I agree with the coach. I agree Voss shouldn't go. I think we need a few more senior experienced coaches. You have a look at, for example, even in regards to like Port Adelaide with Hinkley, had Voss, etc. Even now, Collingwood, look who they have. They have the likes of Bolton and Lepage. You have a look at Richmond under Hardwick, who they had. They had quite a few as well there, and they're all recyclable as well. A lot of them are past coaches. They have the experience from the head as a head honcho. I think it's the right way to go. Then Voss needs someone, and he probably needs more so. There's reports that he's actually a good man manager, can actually speak, conduct, real motivator. He needs that tactical ability about him. He needs someone that can actually have a bit more nous about
someone
football.
that can see things. Someone
Correct.
that can see
Because he's
things
not
that he's
seeing
not
it,
able
and
to
he
see.
needs, correct. And
He's-
someone, and you know what the thing is too, he needs someone that can actually trust as well. It's a big, big thing.
Hmm.
It's a very, very big thing amongst the coaching group. Need someone they can actually trust.
Yeah,
Well,
there's some rumblings around that. So, I can only imagine that there's going to be change. I just hope it's not him and him alone. That's all.
Yeah.
Dan.
No, I was just going to say that what you're asking for, Jules, that can only happen if he's shown faith.
Correct. Well, he's got
Plain and
another year,
simple.
that's for sure. He's got until the end of 2024. He's got a year and a half.
Yeah, correct.
If they don't sack him, this is the thing,
That's
bloke.
right.
This is where we're at.
I don't. Well,
I know.
I think,
We're
I
not
think,
saying.
I think it's been pretty well reported that he won't be sacked until the end of 2024, unless something astronomically happens.
We'll see. We'll see.
Cook said it.
I know, but there's
They all
a lot
said-
of things that have been- there's a lot of.
They
things that
all
have been
said we'd make that. They all said we'd make finals as well. So
Well, they didn't say we'd make it. They said that was the aim, but it's not looking out there like that.
Let's bring this back to the game a little bit before we move into Blues, Qs, and votes and whatnot. And we're going to go with this.
So player probably been a little bit stiff for a while. To be fair, me one of them saying he probably shouldn't play until he plays a good 7 or 8 games. That man's Dow. Came on early on in the second half. He's had 9 touches, boys. Now we all know that his kicking efficiency or efficiency by foot or by hand has been, or more so by foot, has been his I guess his worst trait, to be fair. He went at 77%, boys. All right. So obviously that's an improvement in terms of that. There was one kick he hit lace out. I'm pretty sure it was the last quarter to Harry Mackay. Pinpoint. Ripping kick over a 50 meter kick. Now, just put in perspective how well Dow went compared to other players. All right. So keep in mind, he come on early in the second half. I think he probably played about 35-40% of game time. So you got Cottrell 12 possessions, Sincotta 10, O'Brien 9, Boyd 9, Fisher 14, Sard 14. Full games, mind you. So not during the same period, full games. And then you got other players, and I think I spoke to you before the show. Actually, no, I mentioned it before in terms of the efficiency. Cottrell 66, O'Brien 66, Wall 63, Mottler 54, Boyd 44. Dow needs time now. He should be in next game and give him a good block of 4, 5, 6 games and see what he can do. Because if anything, boys, he's the type of player with that burst from stoppage that we actually need. And I think it's going to be a major help with our ball movement, to be fair.
Dan, what did you think of Dow's performance?
When you look at stats, Jules, yeah, it was a good performance. You're saying he's the guy that we need to burst out of a stoppage. I don't know. I just think someone like a Paddy Dow for me isn't cut out to be in a list to be successful or to push for top 4. I'm sorry to be negative, but this is where I'm at with a lot of the players. I just really, really think that a lot of them, and it means that maybe we have to, and I know you're not in the camp of culling, Jules, but I'm looking at players that we've accepted poor performances, and not that Dow was bad. Like you mentioned, Jules, he was probably better than a lot of players that did play, but he's still in that mold that's just not good enough to be competitive.
So how many are we culling then?
Well, if the shoe fits, bloke, but that means the expectation with where we need to go with everything changes as well. Yeah, because maybe there needs to be a wake up call.
If we're
just not
culling,
good enough.
then we're a rebuild.
But
if
then
we're culling a rebuild, then that means a lot of losses, boys.
But we're not even pushing for finals.
We're already copping a lot of losses, bloke.
We're not even. We're 14th on the ladder, man.
Yeah, but if you cull, I can guarantee you, instead of being 14th, you'll be 17th, 18th.
Whatever. Who gives a
Why?
shit?
Change your expectation. At least.
I don't know. My expectations every single game should be going out to win.
We don't have, but we don't have the list, Jules. We just don't. It's clear. We don't,
I
and you
disagree.
can't turn this where we find ourselves. We can. I'm telling you now, if this was to be turned around in one preseason or one
I'm
off season
telling you
this
right
year,
now,
it's the biggest miracle. It's the biggest
it's
miracle.
coaches and department. I'm telling you right
Jules,
now. I don't care what
Jules,
anyone says. The
Jules,
players
it'll be
have
the
a
biggest.
list.
Jules, it'll be the biggest miracle ever performed in the AFL if it gets turned around in one off season.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying that it's going to be turned around in one off season, but to say that we have no talent on the list for a team to not make top 8 is a joke.
We haven't done it, man.
We've never done it with this list. We've never done it. Even
You can
with the
say
core
whatever you
group of
want.
players.
But you can say I understand that, but 100% we have enough talent. It's just whether they have a game plan put in front of them where they actually feel confident in it. They don't at the moment.
Anyway,
You can see
listen,
it.
we're not going to go. We're not. We said before the show, let's not go around in circles. We're talking about Paddy Dow. Dan, you gave your thoughts on Dow. I was a bit here nor there with Paddy. I think he does. I'm with Jules. I think he actually does need a bit more time, whether he's sub or not, whether he starts. For me, it doesn't really matter. I think Josh Honey was given a 5-week patch to try and find form at AFL level. I think Paddy Dow needs the same at this point before we can put a line through him. I thought with ball in hand, he looked a lot better. I thought he had a fair bit of impact with his chains of possession. Did he do enough? No, not really. He wasn't a world beater, but was he the worst on the night? Absolutely not. Not even close. So at the same time, I think he could get cut this week. Who knows? But yeah, again, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Dow. And it was just good to see him back out there, to be honest, because when you work that hard in the VFL, you do deserve a crack, whether as a sub or not. And it was nice to see him get his chance again at the end of the day. Now, other individual players on the night, Harry Mackay, I do want to speak about. So to start the game, Mark's inside the pocket, murmurs go through the crowd as we've seen in past weeks. Goes back, snaps it. Didn't snap it truly. It was probably one of the worst executed snaps that went through for a goal that you'll ever see. But it was, you could see the relief on his face. You could see the relief from the group. Now that is probably the only positive on the night was to see Harry finally get the monkey off the back, hopefully. And if he can take this going forward and him and Charlie can start to gel again and they can start to hit the scoreboard, maybe there's a little bit of light that we can start to get that competitiveness in the forward half going. But other than that, I don't have too many other individuals to talk about, boys, to be honest.
No, Brody Kemp.
Oh, Brody Kemp, sorry. Yep, fair enough.
He was
Go for it, Dan.
sensational. No, for me, Brody Kemp, he took on the game. His positioning, his ball use. I've got him for 3 votes. I think everything he did on the night was fantastic. I think Jules and we commented on how versatile he was as a player in general. Jules?
Yeah. It obviously shows a lot of versatility. I'm really, really liking his. I think he'll obviously feature in our votes, boys, as well.
Yeah, for sure. Adam Chera as well just keeps going from strength to strength, which I think he's in the votes too. And he was probably our best midfielder on the night. But other than that, it was deplorable. There's no other way to put it. You can't kick 44 points, 50 points, 55 points, 59 points in a game of footy and expect to win. Ash Hansen, you're right, Dan. He's got a lot to answer for. As forwards coach. All right, let's get into some Blues cues.
Joe, just quickly. But then this is where it's a mind fuck, this whole thing, because Jules, then I look at it and it's like, okay, Ash Hansen's got a lot to answer for, but then are our smalls just not good enough? Like, which angle do you start looking at everywhere? Like,
that's the thing though. How many players on a 44, 45 man list aren't good enough?
I know, but that's what I'm trying to say.
That's what I'm saying. So, and when I say that, so what? Every single draft pick that we picked up, and every single player that we traded in, etc. Just what? They're just not good enough. I disagree with that. I don't think we had the coaches in place and the culture around the club that breeds, first of all, development in order to get better.
Correct.
And on top of that, the culture where it's win, and that's it. There's no loss.
Exactly.
So and for me, that is more so the coaching staff and above off field than players.
But this is something
you go
that
through
you're
any
saying
type of organization. That's where the standards are set.
I know, and I said exactly the same thing. But this is something that should have happened 8 years ago. So now, what I'm saying is,
it should just be instilled. To be fair,
Huh?
It just should be that should be our DNA.
I
from the
know,
start.
but it's
It
not.
shouldn't
And
been 8
when-
years ago. It should have just been forever.
But Joe just commented that we started a rebuild with the pass mark to be not focusing on wins and losses. So all these players like Fisher or anyone that comes in the club then gets sucked into this poor culture. So,
Listen,
you know, you're looking.
Listen, we're going to get into some Blues cues. If you're watching live, leave your comments as we go in the live chat, and I'm going to read a few off the Instagram as well. So it's your chance. Ask us any questions. It can be about footy, it can be personal as well. Ask us some personal life questions. I don't give a shit. Let's make this interesting rather than just talking about the same shit every week. Now, if you again, as it is every week off the Instagram, fewer comments, fewer questions. Peter Chiora says it's the same game. It's the same game on repeat every week, and you can replay the same pod every week at this point. It's true. Cootie Pie asks, why have our mids stopped kicking goals? That's a good one. Any thoughts, boys?
The ball slingshots out. It walks out of D50. A lot of our goals were from stoppages from inside 50 last year, particularly first half. The ball just goes free-handedly outside. Yeah, it's pretty much it. No other comment to be made, really.
I agree.
You can't lock it in. You lock it in, our midfields get up. Simple as that. Even if you don't lock it in to be a stoppage, at least you delay it exiting so then players can move up and press, which obviously allows them to get there, then turn over again, shot at goal. Even then, delay allows the defense to set up as well, so then actually don't go from D50 to forward 50 on their end. Pretty simple, boys.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yep, it's well said. Brandon Moon asks, is this it? Are we back to being a bottom side? I don't think we're back to being a bottom side. I think we've always been a bottom side. That's clearly evident at this point. The fact that we're in the exact same spot 2 years later after round 12 is what we were in 2021. It's not about being back. Anyway. Elias Yaka, season over. Would a full cleanse of the board be enough to change anything, or is something more needed? I think we've touched on that. I think there's got to be a lot more change than just in one area alone. This is going to take a much bigger approach. Bridge Herrera is a good one, and it's one that it's a guy that we haven't really spoken about too much, but and he's come off a back injury, so you got to give him cut him a bit of slack. But she just asked what's happened to Walsh. Jules, you just read out his disposal efficiency at 63%. That's not him. That's not him. He's turned into a hack this year. I don't know if it's a back injury. I don't know if he's down on confidence or just trying to work his way back into the game and getting confidence in his back. But he's genuinely turned into a little bit of a hack at times. All right.
Read out
Thanks,
Michael
boys.
Castana de Silva's comment.
Which one?
Nah, it's right. we don't want to go back.
I've got
The Melbourne supporter.
Yeah, this one here. He says, I'm a Melbourne supporter. I agree with that guy at the top right of the screen. You have the list. It's just the expectation of making finals is playing in their heads. Once you make it, who knows when? That's a good point. You guys will be a threat. Well, we'll see. I've just received 6 text messages and 9 Instagram DMs from Silvio Casano.
I got the same.
I got the same.
My thing going off.
Yeah, and he just wants to. He just wants us to say, put Cripps and H on the trade table. I do not subscribe to those comments. Khaled, do you think we should be targeting some speed in the midfield, small forwards for next season? There's actually a player I do want to talk about. He injured himself today with a hamstring strain, but Brent Daniels is the type of player that we need in our forward half. I watched him for GWS this week, last week, and the week prior. He is electric, and his foot skills are exactly what we're missing. Exactly what we're missing. Any other players, boys, that you target for that sort of a role? I know we're going to do this come end of season, but we might as well start talking about targets now.
No.
Because there's other comments here around the small forwards. Gezim says, where the fuck were our small forwards? The onus should be on them, not just Harry, Charlie, etc., which is a comment that I made on the night as well.
I don't know, Joe. Are we going there?
Anthony Joy asks, do you think it's too late to join the Harley Reid Cup? No. Just tank. Just get him. Just get him. Let West Coast and Hawthorn absolutely spank us and get
To
him.
be fair, I like Richard Brownlow's comment, like as Cam Zerhard type.
Yep. It's fair enough.
I think that'd be a good get.
And we are missing that sort of third, like medium forward that can really impact it, I think, at the moment.
Boys, can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
What do you think about the fitness of the side?
It's not there.
Yeah, for me, I don't know about in terms of health or in terms of actual output.
Output.
I think it's a hard one. I feel like as if because we're making silly decisions by foot, or obviously our efficiency by foot, especially even by hand as well. To be fair, I think because of all those things, it's seen that we are unfit when we are chasing because they are down on confidence. Okay, and I understand I've been there many, many times as a player, obviously in a different sport, but it obviously relates. I feel like as if when you're down on confidence, and then it's not like as if you're not. I mean, well, it is. You're not putting as much effort, really. So it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's the fitness factor. I think it's more so just the confidence thing of
Well, the club has
to do more. To be fair,
the club has. I think the club's publicly said that they attacked the fitness and high performance opposite to what they did this year. So they wanted to ease their way into the season and really hit the second half of the fixture hard. Which is, and I think they also, I believe, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that they even alluded to the fact that the Brisbane, Sydney, Collingwood run of fixtures, whatever that 4-week block was, that they deliberately asked the AFL or because I think clubs get to put in requests and whatnot for certain games and all that sort of thing. They asked, I think we deliberately wanted those types of games against tough teams in the middle part of the season so that it was when we were going to peak and we could hit our straps against these tougher teams. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I've heard that. But if that's the case, we're not seeing it. They've completely fucked it up because we're not seeing them hit their straps. They're regressing every single week in terms of fading out, in terms of not being able to compete for 4 quarters, in terms of not being able to stay with teams. So I don't know. I'm not convinced by. We're not talking injuries. I'm not convinced by the fitness of this group. I'm really not. I see Collingwood every week absolutely steamroll teams in the 4th quarter. I saw Melbourne be able to run out that game quite easily in when the heat was on. I don't see us doing it. I really don't.
Is it fitness or is it desperation though, and hunger?
Well, who knows? We can't say definitively. We can't.
I don't know. The way I said it, when you're confident, boys, I think it just becomes easier.
Rick Palumbo asks, how can people ignore players like Sard and Motlop showing no aggression towards the opposition? Yeah, Motlop I'd put in that category at the moment.
Sard as well.
I don't know if it's Sard in terms of aggression towards the opposition, but Sard's not getting his hands on the ball. I don't know if we're refusing to give it to him or if opposition teams have just worked him out, but he really, really has dropped off a cliff the last month or so. I think that's it. It's just sad to read comments like this from Jacob. Are we going to get a top 5 pick this year? It just blows my mind. Blows my mind that we are here 2 years on. It's just crazy. All right. Votes. Who wants to start? Same players. So whoever takes this, you're basically speaking for all 3 of us.
I think Kemp. I gave Kemp. Trying to think. Can't remember. 1 vote. It just felt like as if I think he only had 14 odd possessions, but I think by foot and obviously intercept marking ability, I feel like as if he's growing in confidence. Probably his best game for the club, to be fair. Obviously Harry, 3 goals. Good with hands as well. Probably had a bit more opportunity. Probably could have kicked more, to be fair. I think he had 1 crucial shot that he actually missed, where he went like check side. He went for a check side. Probably could have just gone the typical drop punt, but didn't. And then Chera, I gave 3 votes. I just feel like as if he had 30 odd, 10 contested. I think his efficiency, I think he went at like something ridiculous, like almost 90%, something like that. So Still laid 4 tackles as well. I think he was comfortably, 3 points, 3 votes. Sorry.
See, he's a player that was desperate. I saw it all night.
Yeah. He's
So-
changed. Like, not only was he clean, obviously clean last year, etc., still is, but just his desperation is.
Yeah.
But like, again, he's confident.
But this is the thing that I can't wrap my head around is how can he be confident and we've got 18 other players that aren't. That's the thing that I can't work it out. I really can't. I see desperate tackles. I see chasing. I see running. I see in and under. I see him putting his head over the ball. And then there's players like O'Brien, Fisher, and all these guys are supposed to be playing roles. Motlop that can't pressure when ball hits the deck. That they don't want to chase. They don't want to run.
Because his development was different.
Dan and I, we had the same players. I had Kemp for 3. Dan had Kemp for 3. I had Harry for 2. Dan had Chera for 2. I had Chera for 1. Dan had H for 1. Jules did a good job of summarising all their performances. I think we can move on. Votes leaderboard for the Almost Blues Brothers 2023 MVP. Akers in 5th. Cripper in 4th. Walsh in 3rd. And we've got a change at the top for the first time this year. Charlie slips back to 2nd. And Adam Chera rightfully goes out in front for our MVP. And I think at this point, he should be the favourite to win the John Nichols medal. So good on Ches. At least there's one bloke that can hang his hat every week. All right. Livy's last word.
Hey guys, it's Livy with Livy's last words, and this is what I put out the game. Well, I'm disappointed. Our ball use was just so inconsistent, and we just played bad. I mean, I actually knew we were going to lose, but at least we didn't lose. At least they didn't smash us. But there's probably not the best chance of playing finals. If we are, we're fighting for the finals. Probably at like the last 2 games when we lose them. But a special shout out to Harry Mackay. He's finally kicked 3 goals in the game. He's finally got better at his kicking. You know, I'm proud of him. So special shout out to Harry Mackay. I was really happy for him. I think that was good for his confidence. So next game he can try to kick more. I mean, Charlie Curnow, he just didn't get the marks. He was alright, but he just didn't get the goals. But that's alright. Chera, Walshy played very good. I was very impressed with Walshy in the first half, the first quarter. He was really good. And Chera just plays good the whole game, I reckon. You know, Doc, we need Doc every game, I reckon. But yeah, it's just disappointing. We need to win these games. I mean, I knew we were going to win this game, but it's just that it's like we give up. We're doing good, but then we give up. We are so consistent, and then we're just not consistent. God, what the hell? Why do we have to be so? Why do we have to give up? I don't understand. We're playing professional football and we're so bad. Like, we're way better at the start of the season, and now we're just horrible. Like, I don't know what's happened to them. They're just so bad now. I mean, I love my Blues, but yeah. Big shout out to Harry Mackay. I'm really happy. Just very, very happy. Anyways, that's what I thought about the game. Go the Blues!
Tebanet here in the comments said the happy music over Livy being absolutely gutted is hilarious. And it's actually, it did make me laugh this week, to be honest.
What about Livy for coach?
Yeah, I like that one from Richard Brownlow, Livy for coach. Marty Sugiato says Livy's videos are much more inspiring than Carlton FC at the moment. That's actually true. All right, we've got, unfortunately, at this point, we've got another week in footy that we have to talk about. It's so hard. It is really, really hard at the moment. Round 13 against the arch enemy. We've got Essendon at the G. They are up and about. They just beat North Melbourne tonight by 6 points. They got over them by. North really took it up to them, to their credit. I think the Dons kicked away with that last goal in like the last minute or so. So tight game. We're going to be tested. It's King's Birthday Eve. This is by all reports a clash that we want every year as a marquee slot, and we're not playing like a marquee team at the moment. So, you know, if there's if there's an occasion to show up for and just start to play with a little bit of confidence and a little bit more freedom, Sunday night's the night against the Dons. And, some people say the season's done. What have we got? 11 games left or halfway through. We probably need to win 9 games to make finals from here. It's looking impossible, but, you still got to take wins along the way. And this is one that we should be winning. Plain and simple. Like the Sydney game, we should have won that. Like the Dogs game, we should have won that. This is one on Sunday that we should be winning. We really should be. How do you see it, boys?
Oh, Joe.
I'm not confident.
How do we do these? How do we do these reviews now when you don't know how we're going to show up or if we're going to show up? I don't think their forward line necessarily worries me. I think it's going to be, once again, scoreboard pressure. I feel like against Melbourne, they're a contested side as well. So you could sort of see why we didn't get on top in the clearances, but I think we should batter. With our personnel, we should batter Essendon in the clearances. So I think it's going to be our looks. Do we take our looks? And that's half the thing about you talk about with confidence, Jules, is, put 2 or 3 on the board early. You're up by 2-3 goals at quarter time. Confidence floods through the side. So do we take it?
Yeah, they lost the clearances and the contested possession count tonight against North, who aren't necessarily a fiercely contested side. So I think you're right there, Dan. It's a good pickup. Jules?
Yeah, for me, at the end of the day, I think we're going to be our own worst enemies, to be fair, come Sunday night. If we're not going to be efficient going inside forward 50 or make the best of our opportunities or even lock the ball in there to allow our mids to get up, so then we can actually lock the ball inside our forward 50, I think it's going to be a tough night because they are a team that try to move the ball very, very freely under Scott. So it could be an interesting game.
It was interesting to listen to Michael Voss's press conference this week because he did allude to the fact that he does want to see more risk taking from this group, and he wants to see the ball movement. It's funny that he says it now, but he wants to see the ball movement quicken. He wants to quicken the pace a little bit. So I think we've seen glimpses of that. We even saw it against Melbourne. There were 2-minute patches, and we definitely saw it against Sydney to start the game. So it's obviously there. It's just not clicking, which is what we speak about every week. And hopefully, at this point, you can only hope that it comes together at some stage. This would be a good game to do it, to come out on a Sunday night in a marquee matchup. But whether they do or not, like you said, Dan, I don't think anyone can have any of us can have confidence that they're going to do anything at this point. You run through the fixture, and the only the only game that you're penciling is the Eagles. You can't even pencil in the Hawks at the moment because they're showing more fight than what we are, to be honest. So who knows? Anyway. The one player that we definitely need to put the clamps on somehow is Zach Merritt because he's flying at the moment. He had 34 tonight again and kicked a couple of goals. And the other player on that's running a wing that if the All-Australian selectors actually selected wingmen for their wings, Nick Martin would be within that group of top 2 or 3 this season. He kicked 2 tonight again as well. So we're going to have our hands full inside and outside again. It's just whether or not we want to rock up. And we've got players that want to rock up and actually do a job for mine. Ins and outs, got a few this week. Who wants to kick it off? I've had to go numbers again because there's too many.
Well, you've got heaps.
It's because you got too many, man.
I know you got heaps. You might as well start.
I don't think all of those players need to be dropped, and I don't think all of those players need to come in. I've just listed all that could from the game that we saw.
Well, Jules and I are fairly similar in regards to bins. We want bins and who did I say? Bins and
Marchbank.
Bins and Marchbank for Gov and Lob. And then you've obviously kept Dow in there. George?
Yeah, I've kept Dow in there. I just feel like as if our small forwards need a bit of a change up. So that's why I'm getting rid of Motts. I think he needs to go back to the VFL and prove himself. And to be honest with you, it probably could have been one of him, Fisher, or Owies. It could have been any one of them, to be fair.
Tell your name. I will throw at you just quickly. I'm just thinking about it now because I agree with you, Jules. Like, Motts has probably got off the chopping block for me. So if I want to throw a name, and I can see you wanting to keep him Dow, but do you look at Fogarty?
Yeah, I was thinking of him to be honest, but I know when he does play in the VFL from reports and things that I've read, he's been playing the majority of the time in the midfield. So yeah, maybe they don't see him as a small forward. I'm not sure, but that's why I've gone with Motts, and I just feel like as if we've got a few players that can sort of play that half forward role. I think Fisher Knowles can play probably a bit more deeper. I know Fisher's done it in the past, and then you've got the likes of Binns, Cottrell, Walsh, etc. That can go across the half forward and pinch it in the midfield or go on either wing. So I feel like as if we'll have a bit more freedom around movement of the magnets there.
It's evident to see that we just need speed.
So I've agreed with your outs. McGovern first out for me this week. That was beyond disappointing what we saw from him on Friday. McGovern, O'Brien, and Motlop, they're definitely three that need some time. And I've got a couple here one that I think a few people raise eyebrows at, but I've stuffed up the graphic too. It should be Silvani out. I don't know if he's going to actually get up with his hip. I know we've got an extended break, but I'm assuming he probably misses a week. Pitternet, they said, will miss this week, but should be back the week after. So I'm assuming he comes back in with TDK. I've got Marchbank, Binns, and I've actually got Jack Martin coming in. Apparently he played okay. This is last chance for Jack, so you might as well play him now. And you talk about speed. Cripps doesn't look right, and he hasn't been in form. I'm not saying to drop him to the VFL. I'm just saying give him a rest until after the bye. Don't play him against the Dons. Don't play him against the Suns. Give him a rest. Give him 3 weeks. He's not right. Whether it's mental or physical, he's not right. So give Cripps a rest. Leave Walsh and Wiedering to burden the captaincy for the next 2-3 weeks. And bring in Cunners. Cunners played on the weekend. He got through unscathed. He had 21 touches, 7 score involvements. Can't remember some of his other stats, but it was quite impressive. And if we're talking about speed and speed out of the middle, start cutting him at the bounce. If you need something explosive, just put him there. Give it a go. We have nothing to lose at this point.
I want to see Cunners as much as you.
Well,
I just don't know if he's had enough.
Jules, if he's playing VFL, who cares? Like we're not. It's not like our season's hanging on by a thread. It's gone. So just play him. If he's injured at VFL, AFL level at this point, who gives a shit? It's last chance for these guys. Last chance. Marchbank, Martin, Cunningham, they've got to string together 4 or 5 weeks at AFL level consistently at some point this season. They've got 11 games to do it. Just do it. You got 2 weeks until the bye. You'll have a week off and then come back into the side after that if you've proved yourself. Simple.
I'm not saying in regards to Cripps. I just reckon Cunners, even Martin, I don't know if they haven't played enough games, to be fair. They've got to, fitness-wise, they've got to prove that they can participate in a full game. They haven't shown it for a long period of time, so they need games under the belt.
They injure themselves every second week in the VFL at this point. Who cares? Just play at AFL level. Get through. And if you can't, you can't. That's it. And it just tells all of us that your body's unfortunately not up to it. Plain and simple.
If they can't get through 2-3 games in the VFL, then they can't play at AFL level. See you later. All I'm saying is we've got to try something different. And I'd rather risk the fact at this point that we've got players that are underperforming anyway. We've got players that if they play at VFL level, they miss the next week anyway. Bring them in. They got through unscathed. They actually had decent games. They did. They impacted. We got the win in the end, and it was from some forward craft as well from Martin at times that was linking up chains, and Cunners got involved in a few scoring chains. Get him in. Get him in. All right. Predictions, and then last segment for the night. What have we got for Sunday? I'll kick off. I'm just going to say loss. I don't know by how much, but I'm sick of saying win every week. And then not.
I want to hear what Jules has to say. I don't know. Jules, you predict.
Can we just say we don't know?
Draw?
Draw's a good. Actually, that's not a bad comment. All right. Get us up and about then. Come on. Sorry, Jules, it covers your face every week. I apologise, but
where did the other soundtrack go, man?
No, it wasn't.
It was no, that actually wasn't. That's an old.
That
that's
wasn't
an old
last
one. But
week.
Your multi last week didn't get up anyway. It was lost by 3 legs.
No, it didn't.
Jules, to answer your question, you weren't here last week, but we had to change music because we got copyright marked by the WWE. So
We actually.
Tell them to sponsor us with the audio.
yeah, you're telling me, Dan.
Port to beat the Dogs. Good value there. Look at that. $1.81.
Right.
Eyes lit up when I seen that. Brisbane at the line. Was that the line, Joe? Or was that pick our own line?
No, that's the line.
Yep. Adelaide by 40, especially at home. And then Freo to beat Richmond. Look at that. $7.14. This is, I think, honestly, this is the multi that breaks the duck.
This
and you know what?
might
Fuck
be-
it. If this multi nails, can't win by 3 goals.
He's back on the train.
Because I think the multi will be done before our game. So can everyone
Yeah,
hold
will
me
be.
to account? If that multi nails, we'll win by 3 goals.
All right. I don't know
How much you put on
either-
Carlton to win?
I purposely left them out of the multi for a reason.
I don't know how those two things correlate at all, Dan, but sure. Boys, thank you very much for tonight. It's been a pleasure. As tough as this is to do at the moment, it's always a pleasure having you boys on a Sunday night. And for everyone watching, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks to all the listeners and everyone leaving comments, because I speak on behalf of Jules and Joe, but we're just as confused as you guys. And we're just spitfiring shit that you guys like to listen to. So thank you. All right. It's bloody tough at the moment. We don't even know. I'm confused.
It is tough. Just try and let's just try and stick fat. We've said it for 8 years. Might as well just do it.
Better keep rocking up.
Can't the baggers.
Kind of
Hopefully.
baggers.
Baggers.
Hopefully.